because if you work, well, you're gonna get burned out, and you're not gonna be any good to anybody. You're gonna be a safety issue to yourself, to the public, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, I mean, I'd love it if we had more people. That would definitely be one of my recommendations.
Your resources are short.
Well, the other thing too is all those numbers that they gave you. I mean, some of those are cadets. That's all we got. Like usually the only people that have more than one posting under the belt are the NCOs, the corporals, the sergeant, the staff sergeant. Any of the constables, it's pretty much their first posting and straight out of depot. So for the first 6 months, they're with field coach, so they're doubled up. So we don't have the broad span to be able to plug every vacancy until they're fully trained, and then they can go into that vacancy on the shift, that kind of thing. So it's a bit of a shell game sometimes, but
And they really don't want to come up here either, do they?
well, if they're coming out of depot, it's a surprise.
Of course,
High
yeah,
Prairie, congratulations. And I'm always really good too whenever they reach out to me and George or whatever, and we always say, you know, it's great, you know,
You're busy.
well, the thing is, like, this is like my 8th community I policed, right? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with High Prairie. It is perfectly fine. I prefer it, right? Remember I said I'm from Olds, okay? Olds has 2 Timorans. We're still waiting for ours. But you know what? I don't care because I have fresh inspirations. You know what I mean? Like we've got a movie theater. We've got a couple gyms. We've got awesome restaurants. I had to say that. We've got.
How long have you been here?
2 years. Right? I know Sharon because we go to the same church every Sunday. I joined the Elks.
Oh, I have a hard time keeping in line, let me tell you.
You know it's my turn for sermon, right?
So to kind of roll things up, when we leave here today, what should we be doing? I mean, we had lots of good communication, lots of ideas.
All right, so
Bar MLA, or
I'll tell you what I think. I think that if you want to forward your concerns through a letter to your town or your county, depending on where you live, and you want to talk to your MLA, please do so.
Because I feel confident both our town and our county, this is a big issue for them as well. So I think that they're doing, you know, we can always give them more support in that, but I think it's important that we don't, I think we go right to that at the MLA.
I think you should too.
And then the citizens on patrol, as much as this room should have been full tonight, do we try to have another function like this and say, okay, we're going to start a group, but if we don't get more than 100 people, because like you say, right, you need numbers, and I have no problem with once a month doing a night patrol,
Once a month.
right? But
But if you're doing it more than that, you're going to get pretty bored pretty quick because there's not a lot going
to
on,
do that, we need 100 people.
right?
So what they would do, just to give an example, Citizens on Patrol meets once a month, their monthly meeting. A member from the detachment is the liaison, he or she always goes. And I've seen it, but it's their organization, their patrol, right? We would be there just for a resource to, you know, hey, you can do this, you can do that. But I've seen it work really well where they'll have their meeting, and they run it, you know, just like a council meeting, right? And at the end, they'll have a calendar. Okay, who can work? Just put down on the calendar what day you can work. Day, night, like you can do day, night, afternoon, whatever. So the idea is not to fill every day. The idea is to patrol when you can. You know? If the town was interested, if the people of the community here are interested in forming Citizens on Patrol, I know this lady from the Alberta Citizens on Patrol would gladly come up and give a presentation. She's got pamphlets, everything, you know. She's done it before. She did it for me in Fort Mac. Like she flew, I think she did set the calendar, if I'm not mistaken, but she came out all the way to Fort Mac just to give that presentation. If there's a chance that a group would be formed or can be formed, she'll snap up. And again, like the provincial side, that's another resource too. Hundreds of great ideas that they come up with. effective patrolling. When it's good, when it's not, what not to do, what to do, you know, that sort of stuff to spark everyone's interest as well.
I think we're such a long ways away from there. I mean,
Yeah.
legitimately, if we only have this many people show up, and we all came back to a citizen on patrol meeting, it would be awesome, but we still need another. So how do we initiate that if we had some group to take the leadership role? And I think you talked about, we do have a bylaw enforcement officer and that role, and maybe they help us get the ball rolling. I don't know, maybe Brian, I don't know if that's something the town could play a role in helping us get going, or, I don't know. Because we're gonna walk away here from tonight, and we haven't done anything. We're gonna write some letters to the MLA, and that's fine if that's what it is, but
I really like that cell phone app though, because when I listened to his presentation, I was blown away, because everybody has a cell phone. I actually, other than maybe a couple of the elderly ladies in church, I don't know anybody who doesn't have a cell phone, right? And I think that if you I don't know what it costs, but if you download it as an app, then the community is interconnected. And if something happens, everybody knows about it and everybody's aware, so it's situation awareness. With that kind of power, things get recovered. That gentleman lost his bike, that trike, right? He lost his bike. We probably would have found that quicker if everybody knew we were looking for it.
Did you find it?
Somebody called it in, it was across from the TD Bank, and Alan Bloom picked it up and brought it in, and we returned it to him.
What's the name of the app again? It's mentioned.
Sorry, what's the name of the app again?
Light watch.
Light Watch. And the fellow's out of Grand Prairie. Now, if it's something that's interesting to you, perhaps maybe we could invite him to make a presentation to the community, or maybe pitch to council first. Not that, I mean, he's never asking anybody for money per se. I think it's a user pay, so I think everybody just signs up, and maybe it's a subscription fee or something like that, like music or whatever. But
I spent $12 a month on Spotify.
I got the free app.
Yeah, $5 a month to know that my neighbor's stuff is going to be a little bit more safer.
And again, it would be pretty much property crime, all right? It wouldn't, the domestics and the parents and stuff wouldn't be on there, right?
Well, I know when I was in Bonneville, I actually went out there for a period of oil to, they had up their security. They had nothing in the Cold Lake area. And just with signage, we didn't put cameras in for a year and a half. And with signage alone, we decreased by 25% in that first year, the amount of theft. And the theft out there was unreal. They were working on the Quicksilver pipeline out there. The amount of stuff that went missing of consumables. Reed's Welding came in, and we had a meeting. I had 300 people, and I'm sitting here, 27-year-old kid, fresh out, like, just finished my law enforcement diploma, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of money. Like, whoa, this is big money sitting here, and I'm supposed to try to explain what's going on. And Dan Moon came up and said, we've already given $60,000 to this program. I'm like, actually, no, you haven't. I came out and told you guys a month and a half ago, there's a lock. Looks like a hockey puck. It's right on the back of that trailer you've got. It costs $75. You gave away $60,000 worth of material because you didn't lock your shit up. If people are gonna leave your doors open, your gates unlocked, your stuff, go ahead, leave that $5 bill in your dash. It's gonna cost you a $200 window, because that crackhead's gonna go in there, he's gonna see that, oh yeah, gone. If we can't stand up and start making some initiatives on our own and doing the simple stuff, we can have citizens on patrol all day long. I'm patrolling over by Yak. There's a kid that just happened to walk over and see a $5 bill sitting on the seat. Boom. I can't be at two places. These guys, how big's your area? I mean, when I was out for an ESO, I patrolled a 750 kilometers square, one guy, trying to keep an eye on everything. We turned that into 15 guys by the time we were done. Of course, 9/11 helped that. But the thing is, I see a lot of people complaining, and I see even less people doing anything about it. That's the only reason I'm even here to volunteer to try to head up a Citizens on Patrol, because ask the guys at the fire department, I've been there for almost 6 years now. And I've got guys that have 3 years in that have way more time in than I do, because I work stupid. Like my last paycheck, my last pay period, 160 hours for 2 weeks. I can't be there every day. But there are a lot of people that on a shift work 1 day a month. Give up 4 hours of one night a month. And we can't patrol, we're not gonna get the interest to have somebody on every night. But that's the great thing, you don't have to be on every night. They just have to know you're there. Just the fact that that presence is going to be available, people will sit there and go, wow, is tonight the night? Just that little bit of discouragement, we just have to take the initiative to do something about it ourselves. We can bitch all day long, it's not gonna change anything until somebody stands up. Now, like I said, leave your windows open, leave your car unlocked. I mean, my neighbor caught a little bugger, but he just finished breaking in to his truck. He had a line locating business, and he was just on the way into my car. And bless my wife, I told her, I said, don't leave that portable DVD player in there because something's gonna go. No, it's gonna be fine. It's a pain in the bum to take it out every time. It keeps the kids busy. And here's this little guy in there yanking, sitting with a coat hanger trying to get my door open for a $50 DVD player. Young Mr. Oliver got a hold of him. The kid crapped all over himself and booked her, but he still wound up getting caught. But the thing is, again, what did I tell her? What did I do when I was in the city? What did I do for SO to change all that around? I took the steps, the most simple steps, to not encourage them. And I walked around and I'm going, I know that neighbor hasn't been home for a week. They're on holidays. Why is that window open? I walk around and look at the stuff. People are like, what are you looking in on your neighbor's stuff for? Because they're not home. And I'd really appreciate to know that my neighbor would be looking in on my stuff if I went, oh, I had a brain fart, I forgot to do this. You know, you got these guys, oh, my kid's bike got stolen. I'm pretty sure you go to the hardware store, they still have bike locks. I mean, we always had them as kids. Lock it up. It's not a fact that it's going to be a great big deterrent. I know you can take those little 3-block tumblers and wiggle them around and take them apart in 5 minutes. But if it's going to take them 5 minutes, they're not going to bother. They're going to go where there's something that's not in the way. So, like, take steps. Business owners, the biggest thing, like, I go to Costco for $600. I can get, 6 cameras that's on Bluetooth that goes right to my phone. I can put up a sign that costs me $10. You're under video surveillance. You don't want to be surveilled. Whether you put the $600 into the machine or not, they're going to, oh, and then they're going to look around. We're doing that right now down in, for the company I'm working for, we're getting astronomical theft down around Fort Assiniboine. And they said, what do you do? I said, well, you can call my contact at ESO and I'll tell you what he's going to tell you. Put up a sign. First thing, put up a sign. Because they know. You take a look around Drayton Valley, the crime up there is astronomical. Everybody thinks we have a meth problem or a coke problem here. It's a drop in the bucket.
I think there's a balance, speaking as a local business owner in town, of creating, you know, and we're all, several business people here tonight, our buildings are fortified, we have alarm systems, we have cameras that capture guys in ski masks breaking into your place. But I think you do have to come to, or you have to have, you know, we can fortify up, we can make our town look like war-torn Sarajevo with, you know, window blinds and bars across everything. I don't think that's very appealing, you know. It may stop the crime, but who's going to want to invest in this town when they drive down at 2 in the morning and it's just barred up and window metal blinds on there? You know, I have a Smitty's, I have a huge glass atrium, you know, on the front there, which anyone could break in. But do I want to put bars across that and make it look like a jail? No, it's just not very appealing, you know, from a customer point of view to come in there. You know, I try my best to to have my security systems in place, and I do. But when you have ATMs and VLTs and safes and booze, and it just seems to be an attractant to this low underworld, low lives that are, you know, prevalent to some degree in this town. I agree with you, like, you know, we do have to protect our investments there, but, you know, to what extent do we,
And
you know,
then,
fortify our town?
well, exactly, but I mean, that's where the catch-22 is. You take a look at the liquor store, both of them buckle up at night with roll shutters.
Mhm.
And I'll grant you, it's ugly, but they do that for a reason. I mean, if you want to protect your investment, I'm not saying that it's you know what, I hate the fact that I have to even say that. I mean, but it's just a sign of the times, you know, we're going through that here now. We were doing that 20 years ago in Bonnyville. We're doing that 25 years ago to every second business in Edmonton. It's just, we're just catching up.
It tells me that there's a societal issue there.
Well, I mean, it is bigger than us, for sure.
But in saying that, let's go back to what Lindsay had to say. What should our steps be next? How do we go about getting together? Is there 3 or 4 people that want to get together? Approach the town, write a letter to the town and to the county, and seeing how we can solidify it as a strong voice to the MLA, to the minister, or justice minister, and to the premier. It needs to go that same letter to all those different places. So I think that's our first step in moving forward with asking for any type of addressing our concerns and what we see as our concerns.
Well, yeah, I mean, from what I heard tonight, your concerns are rural crime.
Yeah.
Your concerns are not mostly that you're feared that you're going to be attacked outside of a business in town or outside your home. It's that you're going to be brought blind and steal your property. I think that's what we're talking about.
And would it be legitimate to say response time? The ability for response time?
And response time is variable depending on what's going on and where it's going.
But that has to be part of it, that the area is so large that it has to be manned. Sometimes those response time takes a long time. And yes, it might not be a life and limb, but catching the perpetrator is important too. So I think they need to know how large our area is. Often your people aren't here to be able to respond in a timely manner.
See, there's different models flying around the Prairie province. In Manitoba and Saskatchewan, where they're hubbing detachments. So you look at a province like Saskatchewan, everyone's probably traveled there and they know that there's 1,000 little towns, right? And every other town, there's a police detachment. What's going on is they're hubbing them, so they're taking all the smaller ones and they're kind of centralizing them into larger detachments. And if they have enough people, they can actually go 24 hours. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's more police officers on the street. And if something does happen, even if it's a rare occurrence in a community this far away, it's going to take at least an hour to get there. And I'm not I'm talking foot on the floor driving, because they just simply don't have anybody locally. Now Alberta probably will go that way. Surprise.
But like, why is it drifting away from community-based policing? Because when I went to school for this, that was the big thing, is we want officers in the community. We want people there. Like that was the big thing, it was all community-based.
Money. There's no policing, there's no budget. There's no increase in budget. There hasn't been an increase in our budget in probably 4 years. There's not going to be an increase in our budget when it comes out next month.
How does our area, the county of Big Lakes, compare to in response time and area that they cover? How do we compare to the MD of Smoky River, the MD of Greenview? Are we a larger
I don't know. I mean,
area
I've got a
compared?
map in my office, right, of where it shows the different detachment areas, how big they are.
But as per officers, is it about the same? Do they have, even if the MD of Smoky River is smaller, do they have like a smaller staff base?
They have less police officers. So if the MD of Little Smoky is, I'm not 100% sure, but it could be partially policed by Peace River, McLennan, and Valley View, depending on which corner of the county that they're, because I think there's some overlapping, right? But McLennan's only got 6 police officers and Valley View's only got 12. So for them to go up to the northern parts of their detachment area might take an hour.
How many people do we have here?
We have, if you include Foster, we have 26, less 6 that are already spoken for, so 20. And then of the 20, then again, there's George and I, so that's 18, and then you subtract the members that are off, there's 3, so now we're down to 15. Currently I have 15 police officers to respond to calls.
You said some are doubled up, the other ones are doubled up.
And of the 15, some are doubled up, 3 I think, no, 2. Two are doubled up currently because it's a trainer and a cadet that just graduated. In October we get 2 more cadets. So those will be doubled up as well.
And what's the situation with auxiliaries?
The auxiliary program is on hiatus right now because the K Division doesn't know exactly what they're going to do with them.
Does that all come from that auxiliary officer that was shot, killed in Edmonton?
No, this is a nationwide thing. I came to Alberta 6 years ago, and when I was in Nova Scotia, we had auxiliaries, and he wore pants like ours. He didn't have the yellow stripe, but he wore the shirt that said auxiliary on it. He was, and a lot of times I was alone, so when he came out on the weekend nights with me, that was great. You know, I really supported that program. I'm sad that it's pretty much gone
You and me
now.
both.
Mhm.
You and me both.
Yeah, it was a huge benefit to us, huge. And so now they're basically, in some parts of the country, they wear golf shirts. They're more like community policing and
Yeah.
events and stuff.
I was
And who
just
wants to
wondering.
do that, you know?
But
I mean, there's people that will, but,
Yeah.
you know, that's not what
But the decision is solely liability.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, yeah.
Because I know when I was still in Bonneville, because just politics, basically what it comes down to is if you were licensed PI or anybody that had anything to do with Solicitor General, you couldn't be an auxiliary. But I mean, I did so many ride-alongs along with officers on Bonneville just because of, you know, eyes on them. And that was the other thing, like we've got Rural Crime Watch. I don't know how much interest, like there's always interest, but how much actual time is being committed. Out there, when we started having all of that loss, when that went through, things were just coming out of a big slump. Like we were, with the spread on heavy oil, we were $6 a barrel. Cost us 11 to get out of the ground. People were laid off all over the place. And we turned around and basically what it came down to was all the major contractors in the area, and people don't realize how big it really is over there. Like it's bigger than Syncrude and Suncor put together. And everybody had to come together, and all resources, all eyes went on, and that was the only way we could curb it. And now it's turning around and everybody's, okay, yeah, it's sloughed off and everybody lost interest. The problem is, as soon as you start losing interest, it comes right back again.
That's right.
So
And we have the capacity to also restart the Rural Crime Watch here, but we need community interest to come forward and say, that set of people will take responsibility for it. We'll hook them up with the resources to get it started, but then we'll stand back. Our job after that is just to feed the information system so it's disseminated through the community. Valley View has still a very successful program, but my understanding is Rural Crime Watch did exist and it fell apart because of lack of interest. People just lost interest.
Well, do people lose interest because of the fact that the perps or the bad guys are just reoffending because we're not doing anything in our court system to resolve the root issue?
You know, it's really hard for me to tackle that court issue though. I mean, I totally hear what you're saying, right? all we can do is just show up for work every day and try to get them before the courts. But as soon as we lay that information and it goes to bail hearing, we've lost all control. Whatever happens, happens, and we don't have to like it, but we're there to catch them next time, right? That system,
Well, I guess that leads to our resources aren't being utilized properly. So again, I came here for awareness to find out what truly is going on in the community. I mean, I live in my little bubble. I go home, I go to work, and I go to the school to pick up my little daughter, and that's pretty much it. I take my hunting rifle in the middle of the bush where there's nobody, and I do my own thing. So,
right.
but if I'm gonna raise my 2 children in the community, I wanted to know what is going on in the community. So like Greg said, you know, is there guys out there with knives and guns
Okay.
and reoffending?
And I still maintain that this community, this town, is incredibly safe to live in. Incredibly safe. I mean, I may not walk around at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I have no issues walking at 9 o'clock at night and going for a walk, and nobody ever bothers me.
You got police written across the You got police written across the
No, I do not. If you saw me in Friesens, you wouldn't even recognize me.
We used to sleep in these movies.
No, I lost that whole recruit look. I totally blended, I swear. No, it's incredibly safe to live here. It's a very safe community. It's a fantastic community. I think that the outer world may have the wrong opinion of us here, but it's an incredibly safe community. Our stats that have to do with persons crimes aren't really within town. They're outside of town.
That leaves us vulnerable in town.
Pardon me?
But that leaves us vulnerable in town.
It does, because a lot of the